Another episode of On the Road with Signing Agents with Dylan in Alabama. The amazing part about this story is Dylan is a $10,000 a month signing agent in an attorney state. How incredible is that? How does that sound when I say that, Dylan?
Dude, it's awesome. Coming from just where I started just a little over a year ago to where this is now, I had no idea I was going to be this far this quick, but it's awesome. It's epic.
Guiding your story. I can't wait for people to hear your story because it's super inspirational. Like all of these are, all of our fellow family members have a crazy journey, and yours is just as inspiring, man. But before we start, I want to make sure that I do a little bit of a disclaimer. This is just a conversation between me and Dylan of his journey. There's going to be no legal advice is given. Dylan isn't an attorney state, but this is just supposed to be more for your informational purposes. We're not getting any illegal advice. And of course, always, if you're going to be a signing agent in an attorney state, make sure signing agents are used. So with all that disclaimer out, Dylan, let's just get this party started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I always ask every single student one question to start off is, let's talk about your journey on like why you even became a signing agent to begin with.
I moved to Alabama about 2.5 years ago for a job because I had nothing at the time. A friend of mine got it for me and ended up doing it. After the 3 months that I was there, it wasn't really fun. I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And we all kind of split there, just got out of it. I didn't want to do it anymore. And, you're having a few months, no job, no doing Uber, doing DoorDash, doing Lyft, all these little things just to make a couple bucks here and there. And I kind of looked at it as, again, I had no official job, 9 to 5, anything like that, no benefits. I was doing these small little jobs that was just trying to pay rent and running my car into the ground. And I looked at this, I'm not making a lot of money doing this stuff. I'm barely paying the bills if I'm doing that. And there were several months that I was already running behind paying rent to my friend who owns the house I live in. And I need to find something to do that is going to help me out and give me a better spot because I didn't want to do what I was doing and I didn't really know where to go. So I just kind of stuck around and was doing those little things. I ended up driving, weirdly enough, a crawfish van delivering seafood from Birmingham to Knoxville, Tennessee. And because that's like a 4.5 hour drive each way, I would listen to, I actually learned from Pat Flynn's podcast when you were on with him. And I learned about that. I'm like, wait, this is a thing? Because I never really thought about the idea of mortgages. Somebody has to do this. It just never occurred to me. And I'm like, that actually sounds, one, fairly easy to do. Two, you're going to make a good amount of money doing it. And the way you described it and the way everything, the promotional material looked at, I'm like, this sounds like it could be a lot of fun and also, get me into the real estate industry, learn what goes on behind the scenes that I have no idea of. And that's kind of how I got started with that. I just went through, learned it. Struggled a little bit to start, just kind of believing that it was going to be.
Talk about your journey in a second, but first off, I want to say thank you for being so just transparent and honest. I mean, the fact that you were running behind on bills and you left a job that you hated and you're doing Uber, you're doing Lyft, and the way you heard about being a signing agent was because you're doing a 4-hour road trip delivering crawfish. Like, thank you for being, it's just like really transparent because I know there's people right now watching this saying like, wow, I'm driving for Uber right now, or wow, I'm doing odd jobs here and there, or like, wow, I'm also running behind on my bills. And now you're a $10,000 a month signing agent, man. To know where you came from to where you are, just thank you so much for being honest and transparent and inspiring someone else that like literally you can go from driving crawfish across the country to being a $10,000 signing agent, man. Like sometimes you got to sit back and be like, wow, is this for real?
Yeah, I tell people about that because as you go to a lot of these signings, you start talking to people just a little bit about how they are, how their day is, and they ask you like, so how do you get into this? How is this? Do you work for these guys, or is this your job? You kind of explain basics of what the situation is, and they're like, I'm like, no. I think about it, I'm like, nobody in the world could guess that this is how you get into this. And I know it's not unique for me. Everybody who has done this with you and with other people have had similar stories. Like this is something anybody can do. Anybody, no matter what situation you're in, has the opportunity to kind of get started with this, get the ball rolling, and go from 0 to 10,000 very, very quickly and get yourself rolling.
I love it. We're going to talk about kind of your journey, your income journey in a moment. But there's something I want to touch upon that I think is really inspiring is not only the fact are you in an attorney state. There's so many signing agents are like, oh, I'm an attorney state. I can't make money, et cetera, et cetera. But what's really cool is your $10,000 a month income is coming from signing services only. I know a lot of these videos that students that we do are, like it's all direct business, or it's a combo of a signing service and going directly to escrow and title companies. But in an attorney state, you're handcuffed a little bit more. And so your job in an attorney state, like I teach, is to just create as many relationships with signing services. And the fact that you're able to do a $10,000 a month income with signing service, I think is inspiring, man.
Yeah, it's like I said, I initially signed up and I didn't realize we were in an attorney state. So when I quickly learned that and knew that I couldn't do exactly the same that you did, I kind of realized, okay, we'll have to emphasize that. You have to create the relationships with people and speak to them. And as I got started, albeit a little bit slower than I should have looking back, I spoke to all these different companies that people were, signed up with, and I just started realizing, hey, got to sign up with these guys. When I get that first opportunity, talk to them, let them know what I can do, what I've learned, where I've been trained, certified, a whole 9 yards on that, and just let them know I'm here, I can do this, and do everything the best I possibly can. And as time rolled on, I started speaking to more and more people, growing that relationship with them, because it is an attorney state getting started, and not and only being limited to certain types of signings. They've really helped out as far as getting more and more repeat business, and knowing, hey, when I see something coming from XX signing company, I built that relationship with them, I was very, very likely to get that signing come from them and to give it right to me.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because even if you're not in an attorney state, if you say you're in California, Texas, or Florida, like I always teach you guys to create relationships with the signing services, and I think it's even more predominant in an attorney state to follow that advice. But the point I'm trying to make is, I would like you to inspire some signing agents right now who are kind of just frustrated with just getting text messages and not getting the first appointment or not getting it back. But I try to teach all you guys, and even people who aren't LSS students, that you are able to create relationships to where they just call you directly before they send out a text message to 15 different signing agents. Talk about your relationships you've built, how you've built them, and how awesome it is that they'll call you directly instead of sending a text out to 20 notaries.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all work with not one, two, three. We're working with dozens of companies all the time. So while you get started, you have to focus on the few that you do start with. So SnapDocs is a huge one. And as you get the people coming through, like you recommend, give them a call, talk to them, and say, hey, I heard there's a signing available here. I'm definitely able to do this. I don't miss any signatures. I can take care of all the closing for you. I'll knock this out of the park for you. So even if at that you just keep repeating that, you may not initially get that first one, because let's face it, you're not always going to have a perfect or 1,000% success rate. So talk to them, you keep speaking to them, like, hey, this guy really wants to work with us. And once you finally get that one done, you can show them what you do and how well you do it. And as long as you keep follow through the process, double check your work, do your thing, make sure everything's correct, they're going to realize, hey, this guy really does know what he's doing, and you can knock it out of the park. And it's just so great now, of all things, especially for me. I love AmRock because I routinely will get 3-4 notifications a day during some of the big months now. And I just, I'll have calls from them as well, just saying, hey, we had somebody canceled. Are you available to do this? And as long as I don't have anything else booked, I almost always accept it. And it's awesome just to know that they're going to be ready to call me, knowing that I can do what I do and not have to worry about waiting for that next text message or waiting for the next email to show up that something is available. It's a great feeling knowing that now at this point, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I mean, look, I think there's a lot of really cool things you just said. The first is how cool it is that you have like AmRock calling you personally. AmRock's one of the biggest signing services in the entire country, and they're calling Dylan up and there's appointments. Like, that relationship building, man, is all you. I'm very proud of you creating that. And what I also want to give you kudos for here is, credit for is, the most successful people are implementers, right? I mean, you take the script, you call the signing services, you say it, you repeat it, you follow up. Everything I teach you in the course, because there's some students who don't take the script and they don't call up the signing service and they don't create those relationships, but you take everything you're given and you just execute, man. And that is what makes successful people successful. It's not recreating the wheel. It's just doing what's proven. And I want to give you credit for that, because a lot of people think they need to recreate the wheel, and do something on their own. They're like, no, I just do this, I do that, I'm going to get this. And so congratulations on all fronts, man. I take no credit for your effort, for your work ethic. Because dude, this is success is all you, and you deserve it. I'm super, super proud of you, man.
No, thank you. And a lot of it's like you said that too. It's that and the Nike slogan, just doing it. Like you just got to get out and do something, because if you never talk to them and never do anything, you never actually get, the next closing. You never get the opportunity to speak to somebody. You never start to grow that relationship. So you actually have to take the very first step to kind of get going, and then you learn and speak and talk to a whole bunch of different people. So there's plenty of houses around. Like, you think, I never thought about it again, how many places there are actually around you. You can just sit there and look around the neighborhood, and you realize, if I do 6 of these houses every single day, it could take me a year to do this, this whole neighborhood. And
That's
then you
right.
realize you're just in a very small area. You're not even in a whole city, let alone a whole state, a whole region. Yeah, there may be 4, 5, 6 more, 7, whatever, signing agents with you that are also doing business with you. But there's so many places out there and so many things happening. Like, over the last 3 weeks, I've just started to get people who I closed early this year or late last year as repeat business. Like, I start showing up to places and I'm like, wait a minute, I remember you before, right? And like, yeah, we start talking, like, yeah, you were out here, we did this, and you actually closed one I bought from a friend of mine, and now we're refinancing it, and now we're doing this. And it's really cool to see some of the same faces and same names going over, but you realize it's not just, oh, this is sold, it's done, you'll never see it again. It's not only when houses are being bought or sold. Refinances happen all the time. Rates being what they are happen all the time. Different situations for everybody happen all the time. So there's plenty of business. There's plenty of different things going on. Build the relationships, speak to the companies, and things will come. It might not be instant 1 month, but you'll see it in time.
Okay, first off, beautiful. That was like beautifully said. There's really people, you always hear me say like, "Oh, Mark, you're just trying to sell a course." When I say there's tons of business out there, but there really is. And just thank you for just crushing it, man. I get so excited when you students just crush it, crush it, crush it.
Yeah, because I'll say the same thing. I said the same thing that you said. I was like, yeah, you're just kind of inflating this just to get over the course. But in reality, like, you think of it, when you actually break down like how many houses you pass on the daily, just in your little small commute, it could be just down your street. You think, oh, well, there's 50 houses in this neighborhood, and if I did every single one here as a either buy, sell, refinance, whatever, that would still take me at 6 or 7 a day. It would still take me over a week to knock out. And that's just me, let alone the neighborhood a quarter mile down the road, 2 miles down the road, 5, 10 miles in the city of Birmingham, the whole city of everywhere. There's a lot more business than a lot of people really realize. And the country's a lot bigger than what we think.
So I know a lot of people watching get really intrigued with kind of the journey. How long did it take you? So, I think your story is also a story of perseverance. You're not like one of our LSS students who had overnight success to 10 grand, like Bill Zanunga or Irene, Ruda. Like, it was a journey. So, and I think it's inspiring, by the way. It's perseverance. And so let's talk about your journey. So you're about a year and a half into being an LSS student. So take us from the beginning to now what you're doing 10 grand. Like, what were you doing each month? The signings coming in, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so the very beginning, like I said, I was driving the crawfish van from Birmingham to Knoxville every week, and that drive got boring after the very first week of just listening to music the entire way. So I started listening to some of the podcasts I would often want to listen to, and Pat Flynn, just you and him talked about this. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is the beginning of March of 2018. So again, not driving Uber, driving Lyft, doing all this stuff and not having a lot of money, not having the opportunities to earn a lot. I had to scrounge the money I did make up to, first pay for the course, which again ends up being well worth it, especially for the everything that you get with it. Did that. By the end of March, I had my notary commission, notary bond, everything I needed for that. And I don't think I actually took any signings until beginning of May. I spent all of April kind of learning, what was in the documents, reviewing all the videos 2, 3 times, and just getting prepared for that. And then I think May, I got my first couple signings, all through SnapDocs, and I made, I think, $400, $450, like the first 4 months. I didn't do a whole lot, and this is where the regret of me knowing what I know now, I didn't sign up for more places sooner. So as I got closer to the end of those 3, 4 months, I started signing up with Amrock, Title 365, all these other places. And once I got signed up with more of them, being new, it still didn't get a whole lot to begin with, but you started telling, hey, I've learned all this stuff. I've learned from Mark loan signing system. I've learned the NNA certification. I know what I'm doing. I've done closings before. I can take care of this. I know how to make all the signatures, make sure they're all signed, make sure I hit the deadlines, get that all taken care of. And it just started slowly growing from there.
6 months. So about 6 months in, so it took you about 3 months to do your first signing, which by the way is great. You actually, there's some students who try to rush through the course and get to their first signing. You were methodical, and that's what I tell all of the students is there's no right or wrong way in getting your first appointment. So first off, I think that's great that you actually took time into studying the course and materials before you're going out there raw. And so I think that's awesome, by the way. I don't think that's a negative thing. I think it's actually a positive thing. So you did your first signing for 60 or so days, and then you jumped into doing about, it sounds like $400 or $500 a month. So when did it kind of start scaling for you? What month was that?
It was probably about December of last year then. So again, I made 4.4, made about $900 for a couple months, made a little over $1,000 to $1,200, and I made $2,600 in January. So it was $1,000 more than anything I made before. And every single month from there for like the next 5 months up until I think May or June, I had significantly more money. So I went 2,600, I think 34, 39. I was so mad at that because I didn't hit four. I think I was like 39,000 or $3,950 or something like that. I was so mad. I was like, it's so close. And get to like 4,200 and just little,
Yes.
slowly growing up there. And I think in June or July was I say true breakout, because then I think I had about $7,000. Looking back at it now, the last week of July, it worked out perfectly where the entire week was in that the full business week. I can't think of the correct term for it now, but the end of month essentially is what we call it. So the 22nd to I think the 28th, the Monday through Saturday, I had at least 5 or 6 a day every day, and I never had anything close to that. And I look at it, I made like $2,800, $2,900 by the end of the week, and I'm like, this is awesome, because at the beginning of the year I didn't even make this in an entire month, and I just made this in an entire week. This is amazing. And that kind of slowed down because again, that was the end of the month, and I didn't, I'm starting to grow into that, and it just kind of transitioned from there. I made, like I said, about $6,000, $7,000 that month. And now October, I made a little over October, I took off a couple days that I regret at the end of the month. Because I had a little trip, and I ended up making $9,200. And I know from all the appointments that I had to turn down and see pop up on my phone that if I would have not gone on that trip, I would have blown away 10,000 in October, but ended up with 9,200, which again is amazing from where we started off at. And this last month I looked at it, I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to hit it in November, because I don't know what a busy holiday actually looks like, or if it is busy, if it's not busy. I'm going to just try to do everything I can in November to hit 10,000, because I saw those awesome little plaques that you gave out, and I'm like, I want one of those. I want to see what I can do to get one of those. And I just did as much as I could Monday through Saturday, took what I could, got everything worked out, called up people, made sure if I didn't have anything in a certain area, got things taken care of. And I ended up this past month with just over $11,000 and about 125-ish closings in the month. And
congratulations. So when I heard something kind of cool is, so to get to your 11,000, congratulations, by the way. You are the 10K club. You can get your own crystal plaque from me to commemorate this, is what I'm saying. But man, so $11,000 is about 125 closings you did in 1 month, which is, what is that, like 4 or 5 signings a day every day? Is that my math right?
That would probably be about close, because I remember I would leave some days and be leaving at 8 in the morning and get back at 7, 8 at night, just because of where things were located, where they were scheduled, and all that. And yeah, at least 4 or 5 a day. Four was the minimum. I don't think there were too many days I had 3.
Well, I mean, I want people who work for signing services and attorney states to be inspired. If you create relationship with the signing service, you can do 4 to 5 signings a day through signing services, whether that be, like I said, Title 365, whether it be AMROC, whether that be Signature Closers. Just when you create those relationships, you're going to be able to stack those appointments. You don't necessarily have to work just for direct business. I know I'm a big proponent of it, because you get paid twice as much for the same work, but you're an attorney. you're in an attorney state still making it work. And that's what I want to inspire people. So even if you're in California or Washington, you can still become a 10K a month signing agent through signing services if you're solely focusing on the relationships like you are. You're in Alabama,
Absolutely.
you're in Florida, or you're in Texas, or in Alabama, and you're still doing 11,000 bucks a month just through signing services. Congratulations, man. So for you. Okay, so I always kind of like to wrap these interviews up, and thank you for inspiring people. I mean, this is crazy. This is so awesome. Once again, we're not giving legal advice. You're just having a conversation. I got to make that disclaimer out. But yes, if you're in an attorney state and you create those relationships, you can do it. So I always like to ask advice from a $10,000 a month signing agent, right? So with something that right now, whether you're a veteran signing agent, a brand new signing agent, what is a piece of advice you would give a signing agent to help grow their signing agent business?
So that's going to be kind of a two-part thing. One big thing we said before is just get started. Like I spent those 4, 5, 6 months of just getting $400, $400, which is still epic because I didn't know this was even possible, let alone something to the level that we're at now. But just get started and just keep making small steps here and there. Like sign up for more companies, make more relationships, talk to more people, and all the information's out there. It's in the group, it's on the websites. You can learn all this and make those steps. And once you do, it will if you make those steps and you just keep working on it, you're going to go so much quicker than I ever did. And you'll be able to make those decisions, make those relationships, make that growth, and make this into what it can be, and even more. The other part is just breathe. A lot of the times you're just really nervous about things that you don't need to be nervous of. Like almost all refinances are the same. The core stuff on everything is the same. If you read the documents, if you're not sure what they are, it's going to tell you what it is. And if you're preparing beforehand, call the signing service, call whoever your contact is, and they're going to walk you through what the document is and how to describe it or point out the right information, because it's not like you're not trying to compete with the signing services. They want you to do well because you're the one that is the face of the title company, the face of them, meeting with their clients, meeting and doing everything. You have a lot of resources. Just take advantage of everything that you have, and you'll succeed, no doubt.
Oh, that's good advice, man. I think what you breathe is really big. I mean, even if you're a signing agent just starting, people get so many nerves, and you realize, like, look, everyone wants you to succeed, including the borrower. And the idea that like there's really nothing to be nervous about is easy in hindsight. But I think the idea of breathing through it is really a great piece of advice. Like the documents are going to tell you what they mean. So you don't need to overthink the process. So I think that's a great piece of advice. And so let's kind of end with this, and I think you might have alluded to it a little bit in that one, but is there something, because I want to help a new signing agent right now, or someone thinking about becoming a signing agent and who might have these nerves about specific topics. That's why I asked this question. So is there something that you were nervous about when you first started that now, a year and a half later, you're like, oh my gosh, I should not have been nervous about that at all?
Oh, absolutely. The documents. Getting started, and again, for my position, I never saw a set of real estate documents in my life. I didn't know what anything looked like. I heard mortgage, and what my previous definition to what it actually is was completely wrong. So just I'm expecting a certain thing and seeing these documents, and my biggest fear was the stuff that you gave us was going to be completely night and day different than what the title company or lender was going to send us. And after, I thought, okay, I got the first one, looked at it. Oh, this is pretty well what you said. There's a couple different forms, but that's okay. The gist of everything is the same stuff. Second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. Okay, these are all roughly the same. They have a couple little title documents that are different, but you have your closing disclosure, you have your note, you have your mortgage, you have all that same stuff, and it's all the same that you gave us. And like I said, as I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I went through this. I already learned this. Nothing was different once I got to the table. And even so, for me, a lot of the times I'll get the documents ahead of time, and sometimes you do get it right before the closing. But in the off chance that it's not, you get to at least scan through and say, oh, okay, I know that document. I know that document. I've seen that one before. I've seen that one before. And that just gives, once you realize that, oh, you know what you're doing, you've seen this stuff before, it's not any different than what you've practiced. It gives you a much easier chance to breathe and much more likelihood, much higher likelihood of success than what you even thought was possible the night before. and it's
I
just so much easier once you see it.
I think it's a great piece of advice. You know, like literally I always tell people, banks don't make 50 different set of loan documents for 50 different states. Like they're all more or less exactly the same. So, you know, whether, you know, you just grab your parents' set of loan documents, or you take the course that I teach you to go through each one, like what you see is what you're going to get. No need to overthink the business. I think it's a great piece of advice. So, because you came from zero mortgage background and you're a signing agent, I think you're speaking to someone who may not have any mortgage background. You're telling them straight up, like, you can learn how to do this because it's pretty black and white.
Yeah, because I have so many people tell me all the time, like, oh, you must have a finance background, or how long have you worked in the real estate industry? I'm like, oh, I got started in March of last year when I started doing this. I knew nothing beforehand,
I
and
love it.
it just you learn a little bit as you grow. You take those steps, and every little step just builds. It's very, very cliche, but just builds on what you already know. And once you do that same, once you see that same closing disclosure 35 different times, it doesn't change. The numbers won't change, but the format and what it says is always going to be a closing disclosure. And it's a lot easier just going through and say, oh, it's your closing disclosure. It tells you this, 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 bam, bam, bam. This is that, and go from there.
Love it. I love it, man. I just want to say congratulations. I'm going to show you something real quick. One of these has your name on it. I just made these for some of our other students, but come on. You're going to get one of these right there. You're going
Oh,
to get
so sick. I'm
10K.
so excited for that.
Congratulations. I promise you it's going to be in the mail shortly. But I wanted to say you've been inspiring. I mean, your story from literally like driving across state lines to now becoming an $11,000 a month signing agent in a year and a half, by the way. Like, to me, that's insanely quick. You've never been in this industry at all to then being $11,000 a month signing agent in a year and a half. That is incredible, man. Congratulations on that success. I truly believe this is just the beginning. I know that you are capable of starting your own signing service. You heard me say that right, Dylan. Don't stop. To the moon. Let's continue to go. Let's go.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Mark. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, I saw the course, listened to you talk about it. I didn't, fully buy into it initially. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe I learn. Maybe this works out. Maybe it doesn't. And 100% believe that anybody can do this. Like you said, I was able to do this. I went from doing all this other stuff just to jump in, learn it, took my time, figured it out, and now we're here. And it's an attorney state. If you're in a non-attorney state, you're anywhere else, you can knock this out of the park as well.
I love it, man. Well, thank you again. I know you had a 3 signing day today, so thank you for getting back home, getting on here with me, man. But until next time, man, thank you so much.
No
Bye.
problem.